Hey, it's Emily Williams here, the founder of I Heart My Life and your host of the I Heart My Life show. Today's episode is a very special one. It's episode 70, and it's called From the Stage to the Screen, a special masterclass recapping our top event teachings. So we recently hosted an event called I Heart My Life Live, and it was absolutely incredible. We had world-class speakers, an incredible audience of attendees, and the energy was like nothing I've ever experienced. And it was really hard. It was one of the most challenging things we've ever done. Today, I wanted to share a masterclass that James and I hosted that was a private masterclass all about the event and the top teachings. So we've heard from all the attendees. They've been giving us feedback. They've been sharing their biggest takeaways, their biggest ahas, all the goals they've already reached. And so we condensed the 3-day event into this masterclass to support you and all of our listeners online and really getting a taste of what I Heart My Life Live was all about. Because after all, we're going to be doing this again and we want to see you in the room. Additionally, we want to see you getting big results in 2020. So we've broken down everything that we taught from the stage, in particular, my 4-part framework to 2020 vision and success this year, as well as top teachings from James, our speakers like David Neagle, Marla Mattenson, Dr. James Rouse, Tricia Brouk, and our success panel. So this is a 90-minute segment that's bound to be the thing that helps catapult you to the next level. So let's go ahead and dive in. Hello, everyone. It's Emily Williams here, and I am joined by James Williams.
Hey, everyone. Great to see you all.
Awesome. We are so pumped to be here. We have lots of content to share with you. And I see a lot of people that I recognize on here as well. I see Evelyn from Louisville, Anna from London, Valerie's from Ireland, Lisa's from Northern California, Anne is here from France. Wow, we have quite the community here today.
Love it.
Very exciting.
International audience.
It is international. We love it. So today's training is all about content from our recent live event. And I'll be honest with you, we sent this over to one of our team members to review, and they were like, oh, I think this is going to be a little bit long. And it was hard to cut down the content that was provided by all of our speakers, and obviously James, you and me, because it was all so powerful, and we wish that every one of you was in the room. So first and foremost, I want to know, anyone here on this live training, were you at I Heart My Life Live? And what was your experience? Let's hear it. I know some of you were.
Yeah, it's great to see some people here that we know that are at the event.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what your takeaways were, how you're feeling now, what you're doing to keep the momentum going, right?
Yeah. Deb's here from Saratoga Springs. So Lisa says, I loved it. Elizabeth says, yes, it was transformative. Totally opened my heart. That's what we love to hear. Awesome. I'm sure more people will be typing in just a second. And I know we have some people watching the replay, or we will in just a bit. Evelyn was there. She said, I was there. Life activating. Oh, what a cool phrase. Life activating. Awesome. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in, because I could obviously be reading all of your comments over and over and over for the rest of our time together, but that's not what we're here for. So James and I are going to split up our time and go back and forth a little bit, and we're going to be sharing our screen. And so what's going to happen is we're going to share our content, and then at the very end, we're also going to take time for Q&A. And I know a lot of you actually submitted your questions, which I was super excited about, and I just really want to celebrate everyone who did that. Maybe you received the email, maybe you didn't see it, but we basically asked you to share your biggest challenge. And so today, if you haven't yet shared your challenge with us, go ahead and post that in the chat box, because this is meant to be really interactive, and we want to support you in getting the most from this training and our time together, and really feeling like you're getting your questions answered. So we'll go ahead and do that as we go along. Anne was at the event. She said, yes, it was so fantastic to be in the room with so many like-minded women. Beautiful. Okay, so make sure that you stay until the very end of this training, like I said, because we're going to be doing Q&A, and all of this content is something that it's all going to build on each other, and it's going to all be powerful for you. And James, I know that one of the things that Brendan Burchard often says at his events is to listen not only for inspiration, but for implementation.
Right.
And that's what we want everyone to do here today, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, knowledge is only knowledge unless it's integrated, right? So really listen out to what's being said and how that relates to action that you can take to make 2020 the best year ever.
Yeah. And all of our speakers, they came from kind of a different background, a different skill set, but we all had very similar messages. But some people needed to hear the message from Dr. James. Some people needed to hear the message from me. Some people needed to hear it from James or Marla. And so we've actually included all of the speakers in this training and are sharing one of their most powerful tips with you. So again, that's why it's so important to stay for the entire training, because you might resonate with one speaker more than the other. So make sure, again, you're listening for implementation and for those moments where it's like, oh, that's the thing that I need to do. That's the clarity I was looking for, because it's going to come in a variety of different formats. So shall we go ahead and dive in, James?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to go off video and share our screen here. Perfect. I'm going to keep the chat box open in case we have anything we want to discuss here. Great. So everyone can see my screen. We're all good there. So this masterclass is for you if you're an ambitious new entrepreneur and you're wondering how you're going to make money in your online business. This is also for you if you're a seasoned business owner and you're wondering how to go to the next level. And finally, there's another slide there. It's also for you if you want to be inspired to reach your 2020 goals and beyond. So we know some people here in this community are also still in 9-to-5 jobs and they're looking to start a business. Maybe you're not actually looking to start a business. Regardless, if you have big 2020 goals, you are in the right place. So I'm going to kick it off here. We're going to just dive right in. And like I said, make sure you're taking notes, listening for implementation as well as inspiration. So one of the things that I shared and that I was very adamant about talking about the entire time at our event is you getting clear on what your vision is. And so I actually have 4 questions that I highly recommend you ask yourself. And it's our 2020 framework in terms of you getting clear on the vision and knowing how to actually make it happen. So the first question that I want you to ask yourself, and again, we're going to share some homework with you, and this is part of it, is what is the vision for 2020? And you can even ask yourself, what is the vision for 2020 and beyond? Because we want to make sure that we're very clear about where we're going. As you can imagine, you wouldn't start a trip without having some sort of destination in mind. And it might just be that you know you're going out west. You might not know the exact state that you want to end up in, and that's okay. But I do want to make sure that you understand what your vision actually is. The next step is what action is required of me to move towards the vision in 2020. So say the vision is to create a 6 or 7-figure company. Obviously, that's a big vision. Say the vision is to create a movement. Say the vision is to launch a podcast or write a best-selling book. You need to ask yourself, what is the action required of me to move towards the vision in 2020? What is that action that I'm really going to be taking this year that's going to lead me closer to that vision? Okay, so second question. Third question, who do I need to be to move towards the vision? And what this one actually means is you want to look internally and ask yourself, okay, so the people who already have what it is that I'm saying I want, how are they showing up differently than the way I'm showing up? Or how are they thinking differently? Or what are they moving past in terms of their fears? What are they not allowing to stop them when they get to certain stages in business? So for example, maybe when you attempt to post a Facebook Live on Facebook or go live on Instagram or wherever it may be, you go into fear and you actually stop yourself from showing up. So you can ask yourself, who do I need to be to move towards the vision? Well, I need to be someone who's confident, who feels the fear and does it anyway, who steps up and steps out so that I can share my message, all of those things.
And this is just to jump in, I mean, this is a really important one that a lot of people miss, is thinking about who they need to be, not just the business, not just the tactics, but who they need to be when all of those things are moving forward. I just really think about this one.
Exactly. Yeah. This is like the internal, the mindset, all of that inner work. And then who can help me move towards the vision? Because the truth is we're not meant to do this alone. And this is the mistake that most people make. They think, oh, well, it's an online business. I can do it myself, or it's a dream, but I can find out everything by Googling. And then they basically seclude, they go into hiding behind the computer, which I'm guilty of as well because I'm an introvert, and they don't actually get the support that they need to move forward. And I know James and I have both seen the power of getting the support, whether it's joining a program or it's having a mastermind or just going to live events and building out your community. All of those things are super important because we're not meant to do this alone. So doors will open when you start to connect yourself to like-minded people, and you will become more confident. Because let's be honest, a lot of us here, we have these big visions and not everyone in our life understands it or gets it. Some people might even think we're crazy. And so we need to be supported in a community that really understands what it is that we want to do and believes in us. So those are the 4 parts to your 2020 visioning. So I want you to take these, take a screenshot of them. I'll be sharing them later on in this training as well. This is part of your homework. Super important.
Okay, so this is one of the things that I talked about at the beginning of the event, and the idea that possibility realized. So the possibilities, the visions that you have in your future, to realize those, to make them happen, is really about understanding what it is to walk your own path. We've got a wonderful quote here from Joseph Campbell, which I'll read to you. If you can see your path laid out in front of you, step by step, you know it's not your path. Your own path you make with every step you take. That's why it's your path. Now, what this means and why it's so important is that a lot of us are looking to others and looking the way other people have done things for inspiration, but also trying to do it the same way. Now, we're all individuals, and it's really important to figure out your own path, so that you are leveraging what it is that you're great at to really move forward on what it is that your purpose is in life. Okay. There's a difference between, learning from others and then trying to copy, or learning from others and adapting and understanding. And so what really this is all about is really about self-awareness and understanding yourself. And if we talked about that one point about knowing who have I got to become to realize my vision, like internally, externally, what are the pieces that I need? And that is a very individual journey. And we don't wait until it's all mapped out in front of us all perfectly. We have to move forward, and then we create that journey as we go, which means we need something very important, which is trust. We need to trust that even though we don't quite know what's going to happen in step 3 and step 4, we have to take step 1 to find out and figure it out as we go. Okay, so also possibility is a vision of your instinctive ability. You were born into this world as a winner without an instruction manual. And what I mean by that is you were born a winner. To even be on this planet, to even have gone through birth, like that is such a huge deal. It's such a huge thing to have survived, to have been born, to be entered into this planet for the one time that you get to be here. And so you were born a winner, but you were born without an instruction manual. And so it's our responsibility to understand those filters and those negative thoughts that are actually holding us back from what instinctually we are great at. Human beings are adaptation machines. It's why we are the dominant species. We adapt so well to our environment. But the other thing that separates us from animals is that we can also choose whether to grow or not. And it's very, very easy not to grow because we are also designed to find comfort. We are designed for our lives to be as easy as possible. And the way the world is right now, if you really want to understand the difference between what you really want in the world and your visions and your possibilities and actually making those things happen, not just dreaming about them, it means stepping forward into things that are uncomfortable. It means adapting. It means trusting that instinctually, if you do just move forward with trust and from your best self, when you figured out who that is, that you can be an incredible person and you can be massively successful.
Can I say something, James?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love this because it follows along with, let me go backwards, with what I just shared. So when we're checking in with what the vision is, like everyone on this training, you need to make sure that your vision is, number 1, scaring you a little bit, and number 2, it's unique to you. Because if we're just following a formula that someone else has laid out for us or copying somebody else, it's not truly our vision. And I'm not saying that there aren't elements of it that also appeal to you, but really think about what is unique to you. What is that thing where maybe it just comes as a whisper and it's like, oh gosh, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I'm capable. Would people think I'm weird? Like, how is that even possible? We want to make sure that you're stretching yourself. And then when you move into who I need to be, just like James said, it's really important that you start to look internally and ask yourself, what do I know instinctively I need to transform in order to get to the next level? Because it's so simple. All you have to do is close your eyes and literally ask for the guidance and just say, okay, so what is it right now that might be holding me back? And you will literally hear a word or a phrase. Everyone can practice this later on. And that's your instinct telling you what needs to happen and what needs to transform. I just wanted to mention that because sometimes we make it a bit more complicated than it needs to be. And just wanted to share that.
No, you're totally right. And that leads us to the next slide. Can you go back to the previous one? So if we think about this as our instinctual ability, right? We have an instinct to win, right? Which means an instinct to trust our path, which we talked about before, taking a step forward based on your desires, not based on proof. Okay, so we can move forward to the next one. Now,
they're being a bit silly.
Now, why this is really important is trust is such an important element here, okay? That trust doesn't need proof. Trust is ultimately about the relationship you have with yourself. As with every relationship in your life, you get back what you put in. If you don't show trust to people in your life, they're not going to necessarily display as much trust in you. And it's the same with the relationship we have with ourselves. And Ileana Van Zant explains it really well here. The beloved is one who nurtures you, trusts you, supports you, encourages you, loves you without conditions. That's you. Okay. So to be able to trust yourself to move forward and create your own path without actually having proof or even a clear route in front of you, that takes trust. And self-trust is probably the most important thing you can have if you truly want to be that adaptation machine and trust your instinctual ability to be a winner. Okay, so the next one.
Yeah, I love this next set of questions. I'm just going to frame it really quick. So what happens when we create the vision, we start to get clear on what needs to happen and what action is required of us? Certain fears come up and try and stop us. And James, you illustrate this so beautifully. So I just wanted to set that up. Here are the 4 key fears.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And this is why we're talking about the fears now, because one of the reasons that a lot of us do not trust ourselves and do not trust that it will work out, and don't create our own path, but try and follow other people's path, is because we have fears, right? Every human being on this planet will have fears, will always have fears for the rest of their life. But it's about what we do despite the fears. So first thing we need to do here is actually recognize what those fears are. This is creating awareness that we can really look at and understand, and also have some empathy and understanding, compassion for ourselves for feeling these fears. Okay, so let's just get clear on these first. So this is from a study, a high performance study from the High Performance Institute over hundreds of countries around the world. And so this is the 4 major fears that all human beings fear the most. Okay, so the first one is rejection. This is the fear that we won't be accepted, we won't be validated and respected, because acceptance, validation, and respect and love are things that we desire the most. Human beings need those things. So we fear rejection. We don't want to take big, bold action because we might be judged. Okay. The next fear of the 4 major fears is ruin. Not just failure, but this is a really interesting discovery that it's actually ruin, that our actions, our mistakes will cause us to lose everything. It's a genuine fear for everyone, okay? And a thing that holds people back. The next one is regret. This idea that we'll look back at our lives and that we will have lived with regret, and that we will have regretted our life. And so we fear this. And so what happens is we take comfortable action so that we stay safe, and then we won't experience regret. But guess what happens when you don't step up and you look back at your lives and you haven't taken action? You feel regret. Okay, so that's an interesting fear. And then, of course, we've got responsibility, which is very interesting one, right? We fear that we can't handle it. And who here, right? Just give me a big yes in the messaging. Who here feels like they haven't taken on as much as they want to take on because they fear that they can't handle it? I've even had clients say that, I don't want to put out my offer because I'm afraid that lots of people will want it. That actually a lot of clients will come in and I don't know if I can handle that. This is a really important one because going back to one of Emily's questions earlier, or statements earlier, thinking about who you've got to be. Thinking about that woman who does run a massive 7-figure business, who does have a huge amount of influence and respect, who does have a lot of clients, thinking about what she has to be able to handle to have that, right? And so a lot of us play small because we don't feel like we can handle the responsibility, right? So think about that.
I'd love to know which of these 4 R's resonates the most with people. We see all of these amongst our clients. I'm curious, can you guys put in the chat box which one resonates the most?
Yeah, so I'd love some feedback here. So rejection, the idea of being judged and not accepted, or ruin, that you will cause everything to fall around you to disappear, or regret, that you'll look back and regret everything, or responsibility, that you can't handle it. Who here? Let's have a look. So we've got Elizabeth, fear of rejection. That's a really big one for all of us, right? Don't reject yourself and you won't fear the rejection of others. Fear of ruin, all of the above, right? Well, the truth is we do all fear all of the above. But I'd love to know what the number one is there. That'd be really, really interesting. Definitely rejection, ruin, regret, ruin and responsibility. The first, rejection. Yeah. Rejection is a very, very big one, okay? But the truth is, people, all of these play a part in your fears, right? That's just proof. That is science, okay? All of them play a part. So I'd love for you to write these down, actually, and sit and think where these are showing up in your life and what your opportunities are to move forward despite these things. Because the truth is, fear doesn't have to be something you need to remove. Right? We always get to experience fear. It's our human right to have a full range of emotion. But we do get to move forward despite fear. And we can actually use fear as fuel to move forward.
And I love to follow my fear. So for example, the one with responsibility, we often hear this with clients who are looking to go a bit bigger and they think, oh my goodness, like how am I going to manage a team? How am I going to manage these clients? And think about where you have responsibility in your life. So for example, I know I'll just call on Megan here. Megan has children or a child. I don't know how many. Like that's a lot of responsibility. And so you're already handling responsibility in your life like a pro. Maybe some days better than others, but you weren't born knowing how to necessarily be a mom, but you learned as you went along and you learned how to handle the responsibility. And it's literally the same thing across the board. And so we need to think about maybe times where we were rejected in our lives and we were able to bounce back from that. Maybe times where we did actually make mistakes and we have to make sure that we're not making ourselves wrong for those mistakes and realize like we're still here. We might have made mistakes, but we're still alive. And same with regret, like follow that fear. And like James said, use it as an indication of, any shifts that you want to make and also as fuel to go to the next level. And also recognize that the fear is not something that's going to like cause you to die. Like this is not life or death here.
Right, exactly. And if you don't mind, I'd love to tell a short version of the cookie story here, Emily.
Sure.
So this is a little story we told on the event, which is a great example of shifting your focus on emotion and turning that emotion into fuel. So using fear as fuel. So one who here knows what it's like to go on a diet and then crave some food, right? And then fold and feel bad about yourself for eating the food, right? So this is a story about the cookie. This is a Tom Bellew told this story. It's called, he talks about the cookie and how we all want the cookie, right? And what he's learned to do is during times when he's on his fast, he says to his team in the office, he says, when you're cooking food, I want you to tell me and I want you to invite me into the kitchen. And I'm going to go in there, I'm going to smell the food and my stomach's going to be in knots. I'm going to want the food. I'm going to, oh my goodness, I really want the food. And it's going to be really hard. And the reason I want you to do that is me feeling that pain and that pull towards eating the food, even though I'm fasting, is so exciting to me because at that moment, I get to show myself how strong I am to be able to say no to the cookie, right? So he shifted the fear of the food and failing the responsibility that he can't handle it. He's using that as a way of showing to himself and displaying his strength to himself. So now every time he feels the fear, it's exciting to him because it's another opportunity to remind himself how strong he is, which I love that story.
We'll have to share that video later on.
Yeah, we'll definitely share that video. Okay, so from fear, we now need to talk a little bit about action, right? And specifically how you can experience the next level of your performance. Now, the truth is that you will never truly know and never truly experience your full potential if you're keeping safety nets in there. Right. If you always got one foot wrapped in cotton wool in the safety, just in case it all goes wrong, you'll never show your true performance. This was based on a story that I told about Alex Honnold, who climbed El Capitan in Yosemite without a safety net, without a rope. It was 7,500 feet. And after a lot of practices with rope, he ended up climbing it completely free solo. And the interesting thing about this story is there's one particular moment where he was probably about 3,000 feet up and he had to jump from one ledge to another. Okay. No room for error. If he missed, he's dead. Now, when he practiced this, when he was roped up and he was practicing the route, when he practiced this every time, he fell and the rope had to catch him because it was a really complicated leap. But on the day where he's like, right, we've got to do it now, it's now or never, he stood there to take this leap, no safety net. His best friend is filming him from up on the cliff, as you can imagine, like sweating, can barely watch. His friend is like, I might just watch my best friend die here. Alex stood on the edge of this lip of this cliff, 3,000 feet down, and he jumps. Grabs onto the side of the cliff, lands perfectly. It was so perfect. It was almost effortless. And the lesson here is that until you put yourself in a situation where you're all in, your mind, your body, your spirit will not give you its full performance because it knows you don't really need it. So you're going to ask yourself, are you playing small and then wondering why you're not getting the results? The reason you're not getting results is by playing small, by keeping yourself safe, you're not giving your mind and your body the opportunity to show you what it's really made of. Because let me tell you now, when it's all or nothing, when it's all up against the wall, you would be surprised at how incredibly you can perform and what you can bring in. And even that's asking the question to get in that big client, right? Or putting out that product that's really high level, or ringing those people that you've got the email addresses or the phone numbers for that you've previously been scared are going to say no, and ringing them and expressing how powerful what you're offering is. All of those opportunities mean going all in and not playing safe. Okay. So this is a really important message.
Love it, James. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think it's so important that we really recognize that it can be a simple shift in perspective in terms of us going all in. And we also have to ask ourselves, are we right now holding ourselves back? And if so, are there other people in our lives, like are our clients holding themselves back? We get what we put out into the world. And so again, really ask yourself how you can start to shift that. All right, so on to Tricia. So Tricia is an amazing entrepreneur. She's a writer, director, producer, speaking coach. And one of the things that she shared with our audience is this concept of being a limitless creator. So Tricia is someone who actually invested in working with us in a one-day intensive. It was $15,000. And when she first saw the opportunity, she thought to herself, who in the world spends $15,000 on one day of coaching? She couldn't wrap her head around it. And yet she was being called to do it. And so she did it. She flew out to Los Angeles to meet us, and we had an incredible day together. And she actually ended up signing up for 9 months of coaching after that, which, as you can imagine, was a lot more than $15,000. And she told the story of how she actually made all of that money back within 3 months of working with us. And I'm sharing that today because it illustrates how she knocked her own socks off in terms of creation, and how she, again, inspired the audience to start to see what was possible. And she realized she herself was a limitless creator, and we actually all are. And so she instructed the audience to literally shout, I am a limitless creator, over and over and over until it felt like the truth. And so one of the things that we invite you to do, you don't need to do it now, but in your own time, is say that out loud to yourself and ask yourself, what comes up for me when I say that? How does it feel in my body? Does it feel like the truth, or does it feel like a lie? And what is it that's going to shift you into really knowing that you are a limitless creator? Because when you start to know that, fear starts to subside. All those fears that James just mentioned, when you know that you're a limitless creator, there's nothing that's going to stop you from moving forward with your vision. And if something does try to stop you, you know that you are a limitless creator and you can overcome it. The simplest example is money. So oftentimes we think that there's a finite amount, right? And we don't believe that there's enough for us. One of the things that you're going to see in just a second is David Neagle talking about the fact that true wealth is the ability to create wealth whenever you desire. It's not just money sitting in the bank. And so when you start to reframe your mindset and understand that abundance is all around you, and I'm not just saying that, like everything we need in the universe is here right now. There's tons of money in the bank. It might not be in your bank, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And so when you start to think of yourself as a limitless creator and the fact that everything you need is available for you, that shifts everything. Because when you have a desire, the solution is already there. Am I making sense? Anyone want to raise their hand by typing in the chat box? Yes. Okay, this is a really important concept, and I want all of you to do this exercise later on. Speak it out loud. I am a limitless creator. I am a limitless creator. I am a limitless creator, and really feel it. And when you keep saying it over and over and over, it becomes more of the truth. And one of the things that James mentioned was this amazing story of Alex Honnold and his climb. One of the things that I also know to be true is that he spent 2 years visualizing this climb without the ropes. Okay. And so when we say things out loud and we start visioning what we desire to be, it might not seem possible or feel like the truth right now, but the more you repeat it, the more it will start to feel like the truth. So I want you to keep moving forward with this phrase, even if right now it feels like a white lie or you feel funny saying it out loud. Keep moving forward. Perfect. Anne is typing it in the chat box. Love it. Great job, Carmen. Great job, Joe. And Elizabeth as well. Awesome, ladies. Thank you. Okay. Then Tricia also realized that a lot of her success, literally growing up as this girl in Missouri who had parents who didn't really see any big dreams for her. She actually moved to New York City on a whim to be a ballerina, or to be a dancer, and to work with some of her favorite, most highly esteemed dancers in the industry. And she moved there on a whim, and all these things started happening for her. She started a business, like literally all these doors opened, but she didn't really know why they were opening. And so we have to start to shift from being unconscious about what's working for us. So unconscious competence, which is basically when we don't know how we're making things happen, to actually understanding the process of making things happen. And I hope you can see that once you understand how things happen and how you're making them happen, then the fear subsides. Because if one client doesn't turn out or doesn't pay on time or whatever, you don't go into a place of fear. You're just like, okay, great. Well, I know how to make money. I'm going to make it happen. Right? If one diet or one meal plan doesn't work for you, or if you fall off the wagon at one point, you know how to get yourself back up and do what's going to work for you. Again, so that's why we're looking to shift into conscious competence, really understanding what's going to get us the results that we want instead of moving forward blindly in our lives. Does everyone get that? Awesome. I see more comments about being a limitless creator. I love it. Awesome. And that leads me to David Neagle. So I already mentioned that we truly believe the universe is abundant. And David Neagle is someone who has an incredible story. He literally should have died. He was swept into a dam and broke his back and lots of other bones in his body. And it was an experience where everyone else, except for one other person in the history of that dam, had died when that had happened. And so he had a new lease on life and realized that there was so much more available for him. And so he actually spent 7 years studying with people like Bob Proctor, Tony Robbins. He actually sold his boat to attend his first Tony Robbins event, which was like $3,000 back in the 90s. And he knew that sometimes you have to release a lower vibration, something like the boat, in order to achieve something greater. And he knew that if he were to change his life and move from someone who was making $20,000 a year on food stamps, et cetera, and start to apply what he was learning from people like Tony Robbins, then obviously he could buy a much better boat later on and so much more. And he has this concept that he teaches. It's not really not a concept, but it's a universal law called the law of polarity. And it's all about the fact that right now, although you might see lack, there's also wealth and abundance on the other side of the spectrum. And his truth is that wealth is the ability to manifest whenever you need it. And so again, it's not just the money just sitting in the bank, but it's to really understand how you're making things happen. Just like Tricia and what she said about being consciously competent, really understand how things are working for you and having that trust, like James talked about, to understand that even if it feels like things aren't happening, when we apply the law of polarity, we can see that on the other side is everything that we want. Okay. We're all on one spectrum here. We just need to move from one side to the other. And it starts with you understanding that everything you want is right here when you need it. David also talked about the fact that God did not create the world on coupons. I was sitting in the back of the room when he said this, and I remember typing it out on my phone to share it with everyone following on Instagram because I thought it was the most brilliant quote ever. God did not create the world on coupons. So how often are we thinking that we don't have enough? And one of the examples that David gave was the fact that nature never thinks that it doesn't have enough. Like nature is never stuck in fear around, oh, where am I going to get that next acorn? Where am I going to go next? Am I going to go up? Where am I going to go? Like, what's the direction? There's an abundance. And even in the change of seasons, when winter comes in or when fall comes in and the leaves all fall to the ground, nature never thinks, oh, this is the end. We're not going to come back. Like, no, it's not going to work out for us. It's like, okay, this is the natural process that is meant to happen. This is just a stage where we're at right now. And life is abundant. Okay. And I know that change is coming. I know that everything that I want is possible for me. I know that growth is right around the corner. And I think that we can also use this in a way that I absolutely love as well. Like, I think so many of us have this coupon clipping mentality that we were brought up with. And a lot of David's work and my work as well is around transforming your money mindset. And think about it, like this is the most abundant, this is like an abundant planet, right? And yet we're sitting here clipping coupons. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Clipping coupons, trying to save money, trying to scrimp, trying to find the best deal. What if we actually spent our time using the information, for example, the information we're applying here today, applied it in our business, actually spent our time trying to sell something, trying to make a difference in the world versus just trying to save money or get a deal? Like, how much more time would we have back in our lives if we shifted from the coupon mentality into the abundant mentality? Does anyone get that? Does that make sense? Again, we're so ingrained with this lack mindset that there's not enough. And it's so important that, especially when you're moving forward towards your vision, you recognize that there is enough and there's enough for you. Then we moved on to Marla Mattenson. So Marla is absolutely one of the most powerful people we've ever met. And she is someone who was a high school math teacher. She was a doula for a while, and now she's actually an expert in entrepreneurial couple relationships. And she's also an intimacy expert. And one of the things that she's very, very powerful at is supporting people in up-leveling in terms of money and sales. And so what she asked all of the people in our audience was, what if I asked you to create a $250,000 package? Because she has a $250,000 package that she sells. And the reason why I have this here on this slide is because I want you to ask yourself this question. Whether you're a coach or not, it doesn't matter. I want you to just ask yourself, what if you had something that was $250,000 that you sold to the world? Okay. And if that number doesn't resonate with you, pick your own number, but it should be something that's pretty big, that's outside of your comfort zone right now. And the importance of answering this question, which I know you'll do later on in your homework, is that we want to see what comes up for you in terms of any fears or insecurities. So as Marla said on her talk, she said, this is a window into your subconscious, pre-recorded reactions gifted to you by your family, culture, and the media. And what that means is that up until about the age of 7, we are very impressionable. And so we take in everything that our family, our friends, the media is telling us about what's possible for us and what's acceptable, especially when it comes to money. And so right now, when you see that big number on the screen, you might think to yourself, oh, I could never offer that. I could never sell something at that level. That's crazy talk. Okay. But I want you to start to shift that and recognize, where did that thought come from? Where does that belief system come from? And how is that stopping you from achieving your goals? And again, pick a number that resonates with you. Maybe it's 50,000, maybe it's 5,000. Maybe you don't actually know how to replace your 9-to-5 income with your business. Start where you're at, but really think about what is stopping you. And for most of us, it's our biology and our mindset, the way in which we've been programmed. Our mind is like an operating system, just like the operating system in your computer. And so we need to start to transform it and think differently in order to get different results. And so this really pertains to that question that I asked you: who do you need to be in order to get the results that you desire? And your answer will come when you start to ask yourself questions like this. Okay. So what is the work needed in order to get that result? How can you increase your capacity to receive? That was something that Marla was very adamant about supporting our attendees with. We all have a capacity to receive, but right now, if you think about yourself as like a bucket, you have a certain amount of capacity that you can receive. So how can we start to expand that? And it's really just about awareness, and it's about recognizing that you are an abundant person. You are an abundant being. There's an abundant amount of whatever it is that you desire out there. Let's just take money, for example. And it's about starting where you're at. So for example, if you want to sell something that's $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, great, do it. Stretch yourself. Get into the mindset of becoming that person. And with every sale, you increase your capacity to receive, and you start building up more and more of a capacity. That bucket gets bigger. Just making sense, resonating with anyone? Feel free to comment in the chat box. Okay, so those are our speakers. Now, I have one more thing that I want to share with you in just a few minutes. So I want you to stay on here with me, okay? I want you to really understand that in addition to Marla and James's teachings, there are actually a few more success principles that I want to share with you in just a second. So the last speaker here is Dr. James Rouse. So he is one of our most incredible speakers. All of them were, but he's someone who was dancing around the room. He started a love train, if you saw in the Instagram stories that we posted. And one of the main things that he shared, he spoke for like 90 minutes. So obviously we're not going to share everything, but he said that Monday is not going to be a dance party unless you choose to be the DJ. And we really wanted to put this in here for all of you because you have decisions to make. When you ask yourself what your vision is for 2020, you need to be very clear about how you're going to curate that, how you're going to get closer to it, and what your day-to-day life looks like in order to get the results that you want. Because especially the people who are at our live event, we all know that you're in this container that's totally abundant. It's totally happy. You know, David Neagle said that when he went to his first Tony Robbins event, he had no idea there were that many positive people in the world. And that's what events kind of create, is this place of positivity. And then we go back into our normal everyday life and things might transform. Okay. Now, James and me, we've made deliberate decisions to make sure that our whole life is a positive space. Yes, not every day is perfect, but we surround ourselves with a community that gets us and supports our vision on a daily basis. We've had difficult conversations with family members about our dreams, right? And if people don't respect those dreams, then there aren't many conversations that are had, and those relationships might not exist at this point in time. So we've made decisions to curate our life that's going to get us that are going to get us closer to the vision. So you have to ask yourself, how are you being the DJ in your life? And are you or are you not? Are you just allowing things to happen to you in a way that's not serving the vision? So again, really take ownership of what it is that you want to create and ask yourself, who do I need to be? And also, who do I need to surround myself by? James, you want to jump in here and talk about microdosing?
Yeah, so this is such an amazing concept. So I would love to know, I'd love to have a yes in the chat box. If you're one of these people that gives yourself a hard time if 1 week you miss a session at the gym, or if 1 week you eat a couple of meals that aren't what you promised yourself you were going to eat, or if 1 week you've not been going to bed early enough, or you've been drinking too much coffee, and you give yourself a hard time for that, and you're sort of thinking, oh, these are the things I've got to do to be a high performer, but I don't have time, or it's hard, and you beat yourself up for it, and you give yourself a hard time for it, right? The reason why this is such an amazing concept is that it's actually the things you do most often that have the biggest effect, right? Now, even if you work out 3 times a week, here's an interesting example. I'm right-handed, and every time I go to the gym, I will do an even number of exercises on each arm, right? But still, my right arm will be stronger than my left, because my right arm is the thing that picks most things up, and it does most of the things. Therefore, it's always going to be stronger. It's those micro-dosing things throughout the day that makes my arm stronger. So if we take this to general practice, so for example, if I'm not sitting at my desk for more than 50 minutes and I'm standing up and stretching for a couple of minutes, I'm micro-dosing flexibility and movement, which means that even if I didn't go to the gym as many times that week, as long as I've been moving enough, I'm not going to get stiff and pain in my back because I'm standing up every hour. If I'm microdosing water by constantly drinking, I'm not going to get dehydrated and have to have that special, electrolyte drink at the day, right? If every day I'm microdosing going out for a little 20, 30-minute walk every single day, I'm going to be getting my vitamin D. I'm going to keep mobile. And sure, it's not intense exercise, but it's microdosing the things that are keeping me performing. So think about what you can do every hour in a microdose way that actually over the course of an entire week or month or year is adding quite a lot of things to your life. So getting outside, you're getting out your vitamin D, right? Nature, touch, eye contact, as James says, all these little things like connecting with another human being and, hugging, touching, eye contact, communication, all of those things create lots of happy chemicals in our body and make us happier, which makes us a higher performer. Meditation and prayer, and even pets, as James says, he's got a little pug that he plays with. All of these moments that we give to ourselves to be present and in the moment and calm, those micro-dosing moments of presence in our own space give us the opportunity to give our mind a rest so that when it's on, we can focus and can be effective. And then even the movement and the yoga and the high intensity training doesn't necessarily always have to mean those sessions at the gym of going hardcore and sweating. They're important, yes. But one of the things that James does as high intensity is in the mornings, he'll go run around the garden with his pug because his pug is fast and he knows that it's fun and it's joyful and he enjoys it. But it's also a bit of a workout. So rather than thinking all or nothing with your practices, what can you do little and often that also has a really great effect on your life? And microdose your way to a happier, healthier, higher performing life. And that way, you don't have to feel bad if you don't make it to your gym session, right? That's a bonus. But there's lots of little things that you can gift yourself every moment that will be a microdose to be being a more effective person.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that. The last piece that Dr. James mentioned was, what would love do? This is a question that he asks himself every day when it comes to how he's showing up in the world. And I really want to support you in understanding that it's very similar to ask yourself, what would my higher self do? And this is what you can use when you're answering those 4 questions from the beginning of the training to say to yourself, okay, so what is the action that I desire to take that I know is going to get me closer to the vision? Or who do I need to be to get closer to the vision? And your higher self does know the answer. So really channel that person, the future self, the future version of you, the higher self, however you want to describe it, to really get clarity around those next steps. Awesome. So who's inspired? Who's loved hearing all this? And like I said, I have 5 success principles to share with you that I'll share in just a few minutes. So stay until the very end. But I'm curious to know who's inspired. So James is inspired. Awesome. Anyone else? Yeah, Tiffany said yes. Valerie said totally. Anne says totally inspired. Anna says I am. Lisa says yes. Anne says big aha. Ooh, Anne, I want to hear your big aha. Sophie says yes. Elizabeth says, love it. It's a great review. I hear things differently this time. Awesome. Nita says yes. Annika says yes. Alicia says yes. Great. Yeah. And Elizabeth, that's such a great point. So we need to hear things multiple times. So I recently had a totally blonde moment and aha moment around the word remind. Like it's literally re and then mind. You're reminding yourself. Does everyone know that? Is that common knowledge? Am I just like, again, having a majorly blonde moment? So we're reminding ourselves. And oftentimes when people are presenting, for example, we're here presenting with you, we might share different stories, or we might say it in a different way. And we might, again, have a different phrasing that for whatever reason lands for you this time and it didn't last time, or maybe you're in a different place. So again, we need to hear things over and over. Okay, blonde. Okay, I'm not the only one. Megan said she was lost when I wrote that. Yeah, blondes unite. Awesome. Okay, great. So I'm so excited all of you are inspired. And I want you to really understand what is next for you. There's Megan right there. Awesome. So you shared in the comments. Thank you. I want you to understand what is next for you, because we're in this container, just like a live event. We're in this container where it's very positive. You have James and me here supporting you and understanding how to take those next steps. And I want you to ask yourself, what is next after you leave this training? What is next once you hop off your computer? You're probably going back to that real life that we just talked about, this real life where maybe you haven't been the DJ. Maybe you haven't curated it in a way in which is going to help you sustain the level of success that you want, or even create the success that you want. So I want you to get really clear about that. Like, have you actually curated your life and your environment so that it's setting yourself up for success? And like James said, have you made that commitment, or is there still that safety net there? Have you gone all in? Right? We need to be really real with ourselves and have awareness of whether we're dabbling or we're all in. Who wants to go all in? I want to hear in the chat box. Who desires to go all in? Who are my all in people instead of the dabblers? Tiffany says all in. Elizabeth says all in. Nisha says I was lost for a bit, but back on track. Awesome. Sophie, all in. Anne, all in. James says you are either all in or you're out. It's true. Kalina says I'm ready to go all in. Awesome. Let's shift that. Kalina, you are all in. Okay, let's make it present moment. Deb says all in. Valerie says all in. Hell yes. Lisa says all in. Anna says all in. Annika says all in. Carmen says all in. Awesome. Beautiful. Okay, so I want you to get really clear about what all in looks like. Right now, I'm going to present an opportunity for you, and this is the epitome of what all in actually is. So stick with me here. I want you to really think about how it would feel to be fully supported in 2020 as you move towards your big goals. Fully supported. Like, really look at those words, fully supported. So often, especially as women, we don't allow ourselves to be fully supported. And I'm not just talking about business here. How would it feel to be fully supported? Because so often we are the supporters, right? How would it feel to get even clearer on your next steps? Maybe you're answering these questions that I shared at the beginning of this training later on, and you're like, oh, I don't know what action to take, or I do know what action to take, but I have no idea what order to put it in. We don't know what we don't know. And so there's no point in beating yourself up about that. It's just, we don't know yet. And so we have to learn. How would it feel to have a team of experts helping you make decisions? This is so, so key. We hear this all the time. I want you to just tell me what to do. We had an amazing call with our clients the other day, and I asked them, how can I best support them? And a lot of them said, just tell me what to do. And so we're not the types of coaches who will just ask questions. We actually love supporting our clients and understanding their next steps and having that clarity. How would it feel to 2 times, 5 times, or 10 times the sales of your program or product? I know all of you have big money goals. It might not be $250,000 in terms of one package or one thing that you're selling. It may be, and I love it, but I know you all have big goals that you're ready to achieve this year. So if you are craving all of those things, we have a solution for you. And again, this is how you go all in. We want to introduce you to the I Heart My Life Mastermind. We are so, so excited about this. And honestly, there are multiple levels of the mastermind. So you might think, oh, I'm not ready for a mastermind. I want you to put that to the side and just stick with me as I explain how this supports you in getting the results that you're craving. This program is truly unique. In fact, we don't really think of it as a program, and you'll see why in just a second. No one in the industry is offering this. We have created this based on our own experience and our own, reality of spending over $500,000 on coaching and personal development in our own life and business. That's not a slip of the tongue. We literally have spent $500,000 on our own personal development and coaching. And we've created this to give you the support that we felt was lacking in the industry. No one else is offering this, which is why it's so unique and exciting. What happens in this program is we actually tailor it to you, which means you complete our 5-part business audit. It also looks at your life, by the way, that looks at 5 pillars of success. And so again, we tailor the experience so that if you're coming in, just starting out in your business and you have an idea, great, there's a level for you. If you are someone who is further along and you want to scale, great, we're going to look at your team. We're going to look at what you're selling. We're going to look at your mindset, all of that, and help you get clear about what to do first. We also look at how you're spending your time. And this is so, so important for those of you who feel like you don't have enough time. Maybe it's time that you hire support in your house. Maybe it's time to hire team members. Maybe it's just time to shift how much time you're spending planning versus working. Again, we get a clear evaluation of where you are spending your time as well as what your business is doing in the moment so that you can get clear on how to leverage what you currently have in place immediately to gain traction in your business, as well as what we're going to do to implement more things and help you go to the next level. Because no one wants to get into a program and then it's like, oh my God, I have to change all this stuff, or I don't have anything in place that's working. I need to change it all, because everyone wants to be able to make money right now as they're shifting. Okay. So we help you to get clear around what you have in place already that's working, or the way in which you can put something in place immediately to gain traction. And then we work on the other pieces that take little bit longer. And we really support you in creating that plan. So at the beginning of this training, I asked you, what is your vision? What are the action steps? Who do you need to be? You might not have those answers. You might not know how to reach your revenue goals. You might not know how to put a marketing plan in place. That's why we're here. That's why we support you every step of the way. So you're clear on your goals and the action steps and the order in which to take them. We literally give you everything you need to reach your goals. And some things that you don't even know you need, like an expenses tracker. Trust me, I'm going to raise my hand here. You can't see me. I'm raising my hand because I waited far too long to track my metrics. This is something you do at the start of your business, or the 6-figure level, or the 7-figure level. Regardless, we need to be tracking stuff. So we give you all of these amazing spreadsheets, again, to help you kick things off in a really powerful way in 2020, regardless of where you're at in your business. We also give you a whole resource bank of trainings. We help you put the cash method in place in your company. So you literally get into our resource bank. We have example funnels for you. We have training videos from previous guest mentors on topics like social media, Facebook Lives, how to host events, how to create a content calendar, literally everything under the sun that you would need. And that doesn't mean that you spend every hour of the day in this resource bank, because like I said, we actually have a one-on-one call with you at the beginning of the program, and we support you in knowing where to look in the resource bank and what to put in place first. Okay. And the whole methodology that we put in place is called the cash method. This means that we have a service or course or program, whatever it is that you're selling. We help you create it. We help you refine it. Then we help you with your marketing, which is attracting your ideal client. Then we help you with your sales. And then we help you hitting your milestone. Obviously, all of that leads up to you hitting your milestone and hitting that revenue goal. Okay, so we've covered this. We have one-on-one calls at the beginning. You get a full review of your business and your life, and we support you in getting that plan in place and understanding where you're going. Then you also get access to our resource library. Then we give you live support. So every single week, there are workshops with mentors. This is something, again, we saw lacking in the industry. We saw that James and I in particular were going out, spending tons of money trying to find Facebook ads experts, social media experts, all the people that we needed to build the business, and none of them were under one roof. And we were like, this is crazy. And we don't even know if they're vetted. We don't even know how good they are. And so we've actually put a whole team of experts into our mastermind to support you in getting the answers that you need and getting that support that you are craving from industry rock stars, experts who have already been vetted. Again, and they're covering things like business strategy, funnels, marketing, course and program design, mindset, high performance, Facebook ads, event planning, publicity, and more. Like, we literally just added our own event planner into the Slack channel, which I'll show you in a second, yesterday, because we realized our clients wanted to host workshops and didn't know how to do it. Okay. I'm not going to pretend to be a jack of all trades. I can talk about a lot of stuff, but for us, it's really important that we have specialists literally on retainer that you get access to, because I don't know what's happening with Facebook ads every second of the day, but there are people who do. So imagine how your life and business will transform if you have access to experts on all of these different categories every single day. Like that's a game changer. And like I said, no one else is doing this. We don't want you out there trying to find specialists. That's a huge waste of your time. We don't want you spending more money than you need to. Okay. So we bring everyone to you and they're already vetted. This will save you time and money, right? Lucille Ball, let's celebrate that. Everyone wants to save time and money. And that's what this is all about. And then you also get to connect with other like-minded, incredible women who are going big in the world. That's what we need to curate here. Remember, you are the 5 people who you surround yourself by. And that's, I know sometimes can seem like a cheesy statement, but it's so true. For those of you who are at our live event, think about the amazing connections that you made. What if you had those people in your corner every single day, not just once a year at a live event? How would things transform for you? This is Jackie. She said something about that exact thing. She said, Emily Williams, just being in this group of supportive, talented women is making me feel more like I've got more momentum and drive. So thank you. That's what happens when you put yourself into a group like we've curated. You will also get Slack support, which means you get your questions answered within our Slack channels. This is basically a place where we can communicate with all of the mentors and you. And so if you don't want to be on the live workshops or you can't make a workshop and ask your questions, you can post your questions in Slack. And then we also meet in person at live retreats to maximize your results even more. So once again, think about what will happen if you put yourself into rooms with women like this, women who are going to the next level, women who are driven, women who inspire you. All of that will change the game. They might have clients in their network that are perfect for you. Think about the doors that will open. Okay. So I want you to think about the results, all the results that are coming to mind that you know you will achieve with that level of support. Here's an example. This is Sophie. She said, we're only a month in and I've doubled my monthly income, launched a membership site, and I'm getting more engagement than ever and have a strategy to continue scaling my business. The help from this expert is seriously priceless. And she's been a part of our world for a long time. And she actually said that this experience, this mentorship experience, is the best one she's experienced in the last 4 years. This is Kimberly. She said, what this has taught me is how to take what I have to offer and turn it into a scalable program. I made my investment back within 1 month, which is beyond what I could have hoped for. This is Kristen. She said, not only do Emily and James provide so much valuable information, but the belief they saw in me has really allowed me to step into new beliefs in myself. And that belief is helping me go think after things I was scared to go after. When we have people in our corner who believe in us, that changes the game. And I require that from my coaches. Like, I'm very honest about the fact that I need cheerleading. I need people who have belief in me. And if you don't have belief in me, then obviously you're not the right coach for me. This is Carla. She said, I signed on my highest paying one-on-one client, $13,000 paid in full, and I've raised my prices. So again, we're just giving you specific examples of people who have invested and gone all in and the results that they've achieved. I hope you can see yourself in all of them. And if you are curious to know more about the I Heart My Life Mastermind or truly anything that we have available to you, we have courses, we have one-on-one. I invite you to book a clarity call to learn more. Okay, so be that person who goes all in. Ask yourself, what is it going to take for you to go to the next level? And you might not know that answer. And so whether the mastermind is right for you or not, just book a call and my team will help you get clearer on your next steps. That's why it's called a clarity call. Okay. Sometimes we call it a strategy call. You might see that in this presentation as well. Okay. It's all about you getting clear on the strategy to go to the next level. And so make sure you book that call and take advantage of this opportunity. Now, I want to let you know that our speakers are so in support of the mastermind that they're actually giving you special bonuses. And this is only good for people who sign up in January. So Marla has offered to do a high ticket sales training with our entire group. That's happening in February. And so she is going to be available in the program to support you in raising your prices. And even if you're creating something new, this is a great, great training to be on. And it's urgent that you have this information regardless of where you're at in your business growth. Because right now, most people are playing small. Most people are leaving money on the table. You will literally make back your mastermind investment just by having her training. I can literally guarantee that it's going to be life-changing for you. We personally worked with Marla, and she is a master at supporting you and up-leveling your mindset, your sales, and your prices. Okay, she's incredible. So you're going to get that special bonus, which, as you can imagine, is worth thousands. So make sure you book your call to learn more. And then we also have one more bonus for you. We have an exclusive sales audit with Jim Padilla. So anyone who was at the event, you know that Jim was there and he was one of our amazing MCs on stage. He was awesome. And he is a sales expert. He runs all of our sales here at I Heart My Life. And he is an absolute genius when it comes to sales. And I didn't even ask him to do this, but he saw a need for our community to be even more supported. And so he's offered to do an individual sales audit with everyone in the program. So literally you send him your recording of one of your sales calls. He gives you specific feedback about how you can transform your process and go to the next level. Again, this is unheard of. And this is the type of mentors that we have brought into this program. And this is the experience we've curated for you. We bring everything under one umbrella and no rock has left unturned. We really want to support you in every single area so you get that holistic success experience. And as you can probably see, our mentors really care about our clients because they're literally going above and beyond. Again, this is something that is going to go away unless you sign up in January for the mastermind. So go ahead and book your strategy call. If this is intriguing to you, go ahead and book that call, because what happens is we get off this training and then we go back to our real life. Again, Dr. James said, be the DJ, create your experience. Okay. And so whatever you want to create in your life, you have to put yourself into the container that's going to support you in getting there. And I know that it can be scary. I have my own experiences with fear. Okay, but ask the questions, at least ask the questions about where you want to go and how you actually get there. Our team can support you in that. And like I said, maybe the mastermind's right for you. Maybe it's not. We think it's pretty fabulous. I hope you can see that as well. But we also have courses. We also have one-on-one. Just get the information. I do this all the time with people that I want to work with. I gather the information. I at least get on the phone. I introduce myself. I get on their radar. I pick their brain. So often people are like, oh no, I don't want to bother you. I don't want to waste your time. And that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, is that how you are actually approaching your life and your business and your dreams? You don't want to be a time waster? Like, you really think that's going to be the result, that's going to end in the results that you want? No. So I want you to book your call. Use this link and get this opportunity, get it on your calendar, do it now before you talk yourself out of it and before your mind gets in the way of your dreams once again. Because I have to warn you, this is where most people stop. And I know you don't want to be most people. I want you to understand yourself and your tendencies. Do you have a tendency to be inspired and then you're like, oh, I'll do it later. I'll do it next month. I'll do it 6 months from now. What the hell is that about? Again, how we do one thing is how we do everything. I recently signed up to work with David Neagle for a whole year. And you better believe that that's a huge investment. And it was something I've been wanting to do. And I finally asked the question. I finally got the information and I decided I'm going for it, because there's no perfect time. When you feel the desire, that's your indication that you need to take action. And I want you to really understand, we have to start to develop more trust within ourselves. So many of us as women, we feel the desire and then it's like, oh no, I'm going to put it off. I'm going to do it next time. I'm going to do it next year. I'm not ready. I'm not far enough along. I don't want to bother anyone. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I want you to really ask yourself, those people who you follow, who you admire, you think that's what they're saying to themselves? You think that's their internal dialogue? Hell no. They are moving forward with the thing that they desire and no one's getting in their way. So I want you to ask yourself, what is it going to look like to truly show up and go all in? This is Lauren. She said, in just a week, not even a week, actually, I've seen such a difference. The quality of the program is unreal. I wish I could go back to March and tell myself to sign up sooner. Don't be that person who has regrets, who wishes that they could sign up sooner, who wishes they got the bonuses with Marla and Jim. Those are going to be game changers. Those are worth the cost of the mastermind alone. You got to see that, okay? And you got to ask yourself, how can I start to make decisions based on where I want to be, not from where I currently am? And this strategy call is the decision you make to make decisions based on where you want to be, based on your vision. Okay. I asked you, think about the action steps that are going to take you closer to your vision. This is that action step. So use that link, book your call. This is literally just a conversation with some of the kindest, most supportive people in the world who have done this for many years. No one's going to talk you into anything. We're going to explore the opportunity of us working together, but ultimately give you value so you know your next steps. We will honestly tell you if you are not the right fit for our programs. We have lots of connections. If we want to send you in a different direction, we will. We are not in the business of taking on clients who we can't help. That wouldn't be good for our reputation. It wouldn't be good for anyone. So you can really trust that they're going to give you valuable content, valuable information, and support you in getting clarity on where you need to go next. Okay. So as I mentioned, you're going to be booking your call now, and I want you to think about these 5 top success principles. These are special bonuses that I wanted to share with you that I shared at the end. I think it was day 2 at the event. Okay, the first one, you can either be scared or rich. So right now you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I really want to book this call, but I'm scared. Okay, so I'm going to ask you again, what is it that you actually want? Do you want to transform your bank account? Do you want to serve the world? Do you want to create a movement? Great, then get out of your own way. Simple as that. It's a motto that I live by every single day. No one's watching and no one cares. Now, this one's a little bit harsh. I got this from Rachel Hollis. It was on a t-shirt that she wore. And what I mean by this is it's important that you get out of your own way and get visible. We all think that everyone knows that the webinar is happening or the event's happening or that we have this amazing program or service. But people are so involved in their own lives that they often miss out on what we're doing. So I want you to ask yourself, how do I amplify what I'm doing? How do I amplify my marketing? How do I amplify my emails? How do I amplify my Facebook Lives? How do I share with more people every single day the work that I'm doing in the world? How do I have more coffee chats? How do I go to more events? How do I get out there so people actually know my brilliance? JFDI. So this was a crowd favorite. This one means just effing do it. So fear will come up. When you see this booking link in the chat box, it's like, oh gosh, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can book this. Like, what will my husband say? What will my friends say? What are these people going to share with me on this call? But you have to start to trust the desires that are within. It's the same thing that James mentioned. You might have fear around responsibility. And yet on the flip side, you know that you're being called for the next level. You know you're being called to create a movement and to have impact. That's the thing you trust, not the thing that's trying to keep you small. So often people are like, well, I don't know what to trust. I have these both of these feelings. It's like the 2 angels on my shoulder. Well, you trust the thing that's expansive, not the thing that is restrictive. So JFDI. You have to qualify for the next level. Okay, right now, again, I know I'm using this example, but you might think to yourself, oh, I want to join the mastermind, or I want to book this call, and it feels uncomfortable. Well, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. It's because you're up leveling. It's because you're stretching yourself, just like when you go to the gym. You have to qualify to be able to lift those next level weights. You have to practice. You have to put in the effort. You have to qualify for the next level. It's the same thing with life and business. Otherwise, everyone will be doing it. And you're not everyone. You are extraordinary. You're taking time out of your day to be here. That tells me something. It's not meant to be easy to go to the next level. And anyone who tells you that it is not telling you the truth. Yes, there's ease. And yes, when you're in alignment, it is easier. But you got to move past that fear and those blocks to get yourself to the next level. And we all know that that's not exactly a comfortable experience, but it's a really good indication that you're on the right path. Finally, my top success principle is find people to help you. And I can't say this enough. The people in our lives, everyone you just saw on in this slideshow on stage, all those pictures, those are people who we personally worked with. They're also people who we've met through in-person connections, through live events, or also online connections, through masterminds and programs. So you better believe that we were pinching ourselves when David Neagle, Marla, Dr. James, Tricia said yes to being on our stage. It was an event that we would have attended whether we were hosting it or not. That's what happens when you put yourself in the game and you surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are going big in the world. They could be the next guest experts on your podcast or in your program or on your stage, right? All of that is available to you, but you have to surround yourself by people who are showing up and going big in a good way, going big in a huge way. Otherwise, you run the risk of, again, not being that DJ in your life, of not curating an experience, an environment that's going to get you to the next level, and you will not reach your goals. I'm being very serious about this right now. You need to ask yourself, are you in an environment that is helping you go to the next level, or is it hurting you? Is it detrimental to your success? Are you in a place with Debbie Downers or people who are unsupportive, people who don't get you? Are you also guessing? If you're guessing at the next level, then you're wasting time. You're wasting time and money and energy. There are people who will help you get there just like us. You invested in your education. You invested in learning from people who had come before you in other ways in your life. Do not make your business the exception to that rule. Get the support that you need to go to the next level. Book that call with our team today. So we know that you are ready. I want to see in the chat box, who's ready to 2 times, 5 times, 10 times your revenue? Who's ready to grow your following in your community? Who's ready to build more consistency and stability in your business? Yes? Let's see in the chat box. Who's ready to gain confidence? This is huge. Who's ready to explode your visibility? Who's ready to be fully booked? There's the revenue one again. I'm really going forward with that one. Who's ready to have consistent support and inspiration through it all? Yeah. Who's ready to create holistic success? And I put this at the end because I think it's so important. This is what we do differently at I Heart My Life. For us, it's about holistic success. If your business is thriving, but your relationships are in the gutter, for us, that's not true success. And so that's why when we do our one-on-one call with you, we actually support you in getting clear on all the areas of your business and life where you want to go to the next level. And then we help you put that in place. James is a high performance coach. He's certified in so many different amazing elements that make people successful: energy, health, time, productivity, influence, all of that. I'm a mindset expert. I'm a money mindset expert. We have people who can support you on every level to achieve that holistic success that you're craving. And this time around, we've actually added in accountability calls with a specific accountability and goal setting coach who's going to be doing bi-weekly calls to literally hold you accountable. So if you're someone who gets in programs and you go into hiding, that will not be happening in our programs. You better believe it. Okay, this is your solution. Book that call with our team to understand how you get those results that you're craving, the ones I just mentioned, okay? This is your chance. Book that strategy call right now. Get yourself on the phone with our team to get clear on that next step for you and how you reach those amazing 2020 goals. All right, here's your homework. Then we're going to take some Q&A. So go ahead and start putting your questions in the chat box. And Elizabeth, awesome. And Tia, amazing. Already booked my call, ready to get out of my own way. Just do the damn thing. I've had a big money mindset breakthrough since our last chat. Okay, awesome. I'm so excited about that, Tia. Your work is so needed in the world. Same with you, Elizabeth. Love it. Okay, book your clarity call. That's what you're going to do. And then I want you to take immediate action on the 4 questions that I listed at the beginning. And you can take action, obviously, on anything that we mentioned. Maybe there's something that really stood out to you that's like, oh, that's the tweak I need to make, or that's the step I'm going to take. But here, again, so you can screenshot these. These are the 4 questions I want you to answer. Answering these will give you so much clarity about your next steps and how to get there. And it'd be really cool for those of you who booked your call and who are going to book your call. I want you to make sure that you have these answered before getting on a call with our team. Even if you're like, I don't know what the vision is, just tell them, I've thought about it. I'm not quite sure what the vision is. Can you help me get clear on that? Same with the action. Same with who do you need to be? Same with who can help you. Okay, awesome. So book that call. Make sure you do that now. And now we have time for some Q&A. Okay, so I see a few questions. You can go ahead and type in the chat box if you haven't yet done so. I know we have a question from Anne as well. And it's probably best if you type that in the chat box, if you don't mind, just for the sake of time. I always go over on these calls. Thank you so much for sticking here until the end. So Elizabeth says, what is your best advice for daily money mindset work? Great question. So I would get clear on your goals first and foremost. So what is it that you're looking to achieve? I know for me, one of the biggest shifts happened, and I shared this at the event, was when I was just looking to gain momentum and I wanted to have my first 20K month. And my coach basically told me, just focus on selling one thing. We're also going to slice the prices in half so that you grow in confidence. And that's all you're going to think about and talk about. So I had a very clear goal. So think about what that money goal is, and then ask yourself, how am I actually going to get there? What is it I'm selling? What am I going to be doing to bring in that money? And then you ask yourself, what is the action step that I'm going to take? Essentially, it's this. What's the vision? 20K months. What's the action required of me to move towards the vision? Okay. Well, maybe it's sending out emails, reaching out to potential clients, doing Facebook Lives. Who do I need to be to move towards the vision? And this is the money mindset work. You need to be the person who is confident about reaching this goal. And any moment where you waver in that and you think, oh, maybe it's not going to happen, that's when you read books like The Science of Getting Rich, you listen to inspirational podcasts like ours or David Neagle's, you have a conversation with someone who you know is high vibe, who will get you into a better frame of mind. Because what often happens is we give up far too soon. And so you need to be that person who's persistent until the 11th hour. Maybe you want to listen to some YouTube money mantra audios over and over and over, whatever you can do to saturate your mind. And I know I'm giving you a lot of examples here, but I want you to really think about what makes a difference for you. And so it might be that it's a bit of trial and error. Some of the things that worked for me were listening to those money mantras. I did it in the shower. I listened to them over and over and over. I had Post-it notes around my house with different phrases and goals that I was working towards. I was constantly reading books that were saturating my mind with this new way of thinking when it comes to money. And I was surrounding myself by people who lived the life that I desired to continue to remind myself that it was possible for me. So maybe that's pictures on a vision board. Maybe that's working with a coach. Maybe that's being in groups where people are talking about the amount of money that they're bringing in. It's just creating that new normalcy and recognizing that, for example, there are tons of 5-star hotels in the world that are constantly fully booked. There are people who are flying first class every single day. Reminding yourself of what's possible and what's abundant in the world versus the lack. Okay, Tia says, I'm such an introvert. How do I get better with sales calls? How do introverts up their sales game? And where is the next live event? Okay, so in terms of introvert, so sales calls are not about you. That's what I think everyone the mistake that most people make. Sales calls are about the person on the other end of the phone. And so when we start to frame it in that way and remember that we're in service to the other person, it totally changes the game. So James, I know that Marla said something to you about the relationship that you have with the future version of the person. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people, like you said, Emily, they get in their own heads on a sale call and allow their fears or even their fears for the other person. When someone expresses, fears around money or fears around judgment, we feel sorry for that person. Of course, then we soften and we're not then really shouting out and holding space for that person in the future that wants to be successful, that is successful. And so it's really important to think about on that call, standing up for the person who has worked hard and invested big to be successful, rather than the person on the phone that is scared, right? Because if you let that person control the call, then that person's going to stay scared and stay stuck, and they're never going to move forward. So we've got to be strong. Obviously, understanding where someone's at, but be there for the person that's put the work in the future, because that's the direction and the change that needs to happen for someone to invest and someone to move forward.
Yeah, and I just realized I wanted to get a video for this. You can jump on if you want, James. Yeah, so that's such an important question, Tia. Thank you for asking. And I think that, James is spot on. It's having that vision of the person and remembering that they don't need another friend. They don't need another person who's going to be soft on them. They need someone to hold them accountable and going to the next level and seeing more than they see for themselves. And so it's really just having a conversation and expressing belief in the person. Right? It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert. It's just having a normal conversation. And you and I have had conversations. I would never have even known that you were an introvert, to be honest. And so it's really thinking about how you can be in service to that person. And that really, again, helps you shift things when people come up with their money excuses and you recognize, it's my job to go deeper with what's holding them back. And so I'm going to move out of my own fear and insecurity around having conversations around money, because I know it can bring up a lot for people, and be in service to this person because they're saying they want to go to the next level, but right now there might be a bit of a roadblock for them. Hopefully that makes sense. Sophie says, when creating online coaching courses, which plugins or tech do you recommend? I'm a total technophobe. Great question. So right now we are using Kajabi, but again, it depends. There's so many different options out there. I know our director of operations is on here right now, Megan, and I don't think she's a huge Kajabi fan. There's a lot of other options out there. So we would have to look at your business and what you want to achieve in order to answer that question. But I also want to support you in reframing this technophobe piece. It's awesome that you're asking the question, but I want you to really shift that, because none of us are born knowing how to do all this stuff when it comes to tech. or marketing or setting up courses. And again, that's why you get yourself into programs like our mastermind so that we can support you in getting those answers, knowing what software to put in place, also potentially outsourcing it. One of our clients, Emily, she was like posting day and night about Kajabi, about setting up her course in there. And it is really easy, but she doesn't have the time. Like, she has 4 kids and 2 businesses. And so I literally went into the Kajabi Facebook group and I was like, I have a client who needs a tech VA who is qualified to do that. And I got all these responses. And then I sent one to Emily because I'm like, Emily, you do not need to be doing this. This is such a waste of your precious time. Okay. And so I want you to really think about, number 1, reframing. And number 2, ask yourself, should I be doing this? Do I need to be doing this? And that goes for everyone. Sophie has 4 kids too. Exactly. Like, what are we doing setting up Kajabi? Like, that's not our mastery. Let's pay someone $10 or $20 an hour, whatever it is, to just get the course in there. And then we're good to go. Let's see. We'll take one more question. So Anne says, big aha, I was flip-flopping between creating 2 courses, but if I follow my vision, which is to start a movement and reach as many people as possible with the message that they are beyond limitless and true creators, and show them how, then it doesn't matter which route I take, trusting myself to follow the vision. That's awesome. James, you want to say anything about that?
I think that's fantastic. I think that speaks for itself. I mean, when you think about the vision that you really want to create, not the one you think you can, you think that's available to you, there's a different feeling you get in your body. Like, it's exciting to you. And that there, Anne, that's your purpose, right? And we can leverage our purpose in a million different ways, whether it's books or courses or live events, or, the important thing is your purpose. And when you, as I said earlier, when you take each step forward in alignment with your purpose and try and just to figure out the next step, it's all going to come together. And that's where, Anne, thank you so much for posting that, Anne. You're trusting yourself to take that step forward, and you will make adjustments and tweak as you go. That's the ready, fire, aim mentality, right? You don't start aiming till you've already started moving. Okay. That's why you create the path as you go.
Perfect. Love it. All right, we will leave it there, everyone. And I know somebody asked about the location of our next event. We honestly don't have it yet. It will be in the United States, but I don't want to say something and then have to take it back. So we are aiming for November. I can tell you that. So we will be releasing more information about that soon. And we'd obviously love to have all of you there. So go ahead and book your call with our team. They are standing by. They want to serve you. They want to support you. And I think everyone who was at the event can attest to the fact that our team, they are absolutely incredible, and they have a service-based heart. Again, this is not about selling you into anything. It's about you getting value and understanding what your next steps are. And at the same time, I hope you're truly excited about the mastermind and the opportunities that are available to you that you've seen on this call, and that you can see that this is a solution to you achieving those next level goals. We're literally handing it to you on a silver or maybe gold platter and saying, this is available, take it, receive it. This is your solution. And so again, this is how you go all in. So make sure you book that call now. And we will have the replay up as soon as possible so you can dive into your homework. Thank you for everyone, for your attention, for your dedication to your vision, for showing up, for the energy that you brought. You are incredible, and we are super grateful for you. Have a beautiful day. So I hope you loved today's special episode. This masterclass was one of my favorites, and I hope you're inspired to book a call with my team today. All you have to do is go to iHeartMyLifeBooking.com, and that'll take you to a special page where you can book in for your strategy call. And like I said in the masterclass, this call is about you getting clarity on your next steps. Please take advantage of this unique opportunity to get on the phone with a team of experts that will really support you in understanding what that next step is towards your goal. Do not stay stuck. Do not stay in hiding. Take advantage of this opportunity now. We'd love to learn more about you, support you in your big vision, and ultimately see if we're the right fit to work together this year. Talk to you soon. Thank you for listening to the iHeart My Life show. For more inspiration, success tips, and ways to achieve your life and business goals, definitely follow me on Facebook and Instagram on iHeart My Life Now. See you next time.